faith can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But what I want to talk to us about today is lighting that candle for faith for the things that are most important in the world. And it is not important what faith you belong to, what religious faith you adhere to. What's most important is the faith you hold in your heart for the things that are possible in the world. Right? What is most important is that we live into the beings we all long to be, and that we know we have come here to be. Too often, we don't set our sights high enough, folks. We choose the easier aim, the thing that's within reach, the thing that feels comfortable and achievable and doing. But you know what? Boldness and audacity have power in them, have real power in them. And when we can step into the highest level of our consciousness and say, I will take a stand for this. I will stand in my authority, stand in my conviction, stand in my faith, and create a world where no one goes hungry. Create a world where everyone has a place to live. Create a world where everyone is equal. Create a world where there is no more war. Now, you may think I'm foolish. You may think I am Pollyanna. But let me tell you the truth. Pollyanna knew what was going on. It's the cynics who have labeled her naive. She was not naive. She knew exactly what was happening. And she chose to remain optimistic in the face of really radical hardship. And there was a time in our nation and a time in this world where someone like Pollyanna was a star. When Pollyanna was written, it was the most popular book of its era. It was the Harry Potter of the early 1900s. And 14 different versions of the book were written. It was sequel after sequel after sequel. It was turned into movies. Milton Bradley actually made it into a board game. And families all across this nation would roll the dice and find something bad happen to them on their board game and have to find the good in it. Right? Let's reissue the glad game, right? Because what we need to do is have faith that we can create the world we seek. What we need to do is light the candle for faith and know that we are in charge of our own destiny. No matter what happens to us, no matter what happens on the outside of us, we have the power to choose, right? We have the power to choose how we will respond to life's troubles and life's occurrences and life's events. We can have faith that we have the strength to make it through the diagnosis, through the divorce, through the job loss, through the recession, through the good times. And we can create a city, a planet, a world that works for everyone. No exceptions, no exclusions. Now, I'm not alone in this journey. I am not the first person to say this, but the cynics seem to get our attention and tell us that's just the way the world is. But way back 2,000 years ago, the Apostle Paul said, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance of what we do not see. Right? In his letter to the Hebrews, assurance in what we do not see. I spent the week, as I mentioned earlier, with one of the mystical gurus of change on this planet who happens to live here in San Francisco with us, Lynn Twist, who has dedicated her life for the last 50 years to changing the planet. Changing the planet. For years and years, she was a fundraiser for the Hunger Project. And she said that she took the audacious, bold step to say in the 1970s that yes, we can end hunger on this planet. In the 1970s, when she started doing the work with the Hunger Project, there were over 1 million people a year who died of starvation here on the planet Earth. Let that sink in. Died of starvation. Now, we have not eradicated that. But what they did realize is that there was sufficiency, more than enough on this planet to feed everyone. And the work of the Hunger Project has drastically reduced that. So that in this year, in 2023, the number is substantially less. It's under $100,000. $100,000? 100,000 people. And we don't need to applaud 100,000 people starving to death. I know that's an oxymoron. We're caught in that, and $100,000. She's raised millions of dollars. But what this does is we can get there, folks. Bit by bit, step by step, as Misa just sang. We can get to this place where we can let go of our apathy and indifference. We can let go of knowing that we can't do anything. And step into the knowing that everything we do matters. One of the things they had people do in the 1970s, as I was listening to her book on the way here this morning, it's an amazing new book, they had people sign pledge cards. Pledge cards that would say, I commit myself to ending hunger in the world. And the cynics would say, well, words don't feed people. But what happens is when we commit to something, when we light the candle for faith in our lives, we start to notice everything in our lives that doesn't match our commitment, right? And so we start putting our energy and attention into the places that can make a difference. And little by little, by little, by little, we are going to get to the place where we can end hunger on this planet. Can we know that? We can get to the place where we can end hunger on this planet. Amen. Right? And what it takes is all of us to wake up out of the malaise of that's just the way it is. It's just the way it's always been. There's nothing that this one person can do. And step into, I am a powerful expression of divine life and energy. And everything I do matters. Do you know that? Say it with me. I am a powerful expression of divine energy. Everything I do matters. So when we light the candle in our own heart for ending hunger, for ending homelessness, for ending war, we are forced by our example to end the war in our own mind, end the war of our own words, of calling people evil and calling people bad and calling people deserving of the things that happen to them. And we get to wake up to the truth that compassion and love are more powerful than hate. I was talking with a friend this morning about something that's going on in my volunteer work with Unity, the worldwide Unity movement. And he wrote me back after our conversation, you know him, Reverend Dr. Paul Hasselbeck, who speaks here often. So I started my morning at 6 a.m. talking to Paul. He's in Central Time. He was awake. And I started talking to him, and after we were finished, he texted me back, and he said, remember, you will never regret being kind. Remember, you will never regret being kind. Even though you are taking a stand, even though you are stating what you stand for, you don't make the other person the enemy. You stand for who you are. You stand for what you believe in, and you allow them to move as they need to move. For it takes all of us on this planet, all of us in full mode of activity and listening and cooperation and engagement to solve the problems of the planet. Not a single person on this planet have all the answers, do they? Would we entrust anyone to run it all? Hell no! But there is a wisdom within us all. And the indigenous people of this planet know it better than we do. There is a wisdom in the trees, in the animals, in the plants, in the community that lift us all up to something higher. So when we can have faith in the human beings we all are, have faith in the invisible energy that we call spirit, God, source, planet, Mother Earth, Pachamama, then we can find the way through anything. Anything. For nothing that we have created can we not fix with a new mindset, with a new understanding, and a new cooperative wisdom. So I come to you today to say, have faith. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase, as Dr. King taught us. And before him, Mahatma Gandhi took the bold step without seeing the whole staircase and said, the British will no longer rule India. India will be self-governing. There was no staircase to be seen, but he took a stand and planted his foot on it and watched patiently and worked diligently for years until the whole colonial system in India shifted and passed. Dr. King said, I have a dream where all of our people will be treated as one and all given equal access to all the promises of this land. And it was not happening in the 1960s I was born into. It was not happening in the decades and the centuries that were before in this great nation. But he called this nation up to its greatest. And all of us came together by lighting this candle of faith, and we have to do it again today. To light the candle of faith, because the work is not done. As we mentioned earlier, we are unapologetically inclusive. And that doesn't mean we don't have work to do. It means we need to find all the places we're not. All the places where we hold enmity. And to clear our own consciousness of it. Because you cannot change the mind of anyone who can feel your inner contempt. You cannot shift with anger. You can create more anger, and that is a shift, I will grant you that. But we are not going to create the city that Misa just sang about. Coming to it with hostility and rage and anger. We come to it knowing that the thing we long for isn't just in us. It is in the collective consciousness of all humanity. It is in the air we breathe. It is in the collective longing of our souls, searching for that lost Eden, that paradise that we knew before we were born into this world. And the whole myth of Adam and Eve and leaving and getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden is a myth of us coming into this world. Once we were one with the divine, once we knew all of our interconnectedness, and we were born into pain and to suffering, and we walk through this world, through this East of Eden place, remembering along the way, connecting with each other along the way by holding the candle of faith. When you take a bold step, when you leap with faith, the universe will conspire with you. And what I learned this week from Lynn, I'm going to share with you because it's bursting from me to share with you. When you take a bold stance, When you say with conviction and determination what you will create, what you stand for in this world, that future thing you're seeking reaches through the time and space, through that quantum field, and changes you in this moment to get there, right? That thing we're seeking in the future lives within us because we stand boldly and say, this will be the future of this planet. And the future reaches forth and pulls us in, pulls us along, and time and space collapse, and we create it. And all of a sudden, something we thought would take 10 years or 20 years or 5 years happens in an instant because it happens within us. And what happens within creates everything on the outside. Yes, we are reaching the tipping point. We are reaching the tipping point on this planet where it is time to shift who we've been, to let it go, and go boldly into the future.